Did you know that currently in 2024, over 70 million US residents are dealing with persistent sleep challenges, and the bulk of them are past the age of 55? This statistic is not a rumor. That is a result released by the American Sleep Association, and it has been rising regularly since experts first started monitoring it back in the early 1990s. By 2019, the Centers for Disease Control had labeled inadequate rest a real public health crisis. And by 2022, papers from Harvard Medical School verified that the issue was getting harder, not easier, particularly for elders. Hi, I'm Dr. Lana Mitchell, and if you're viewing this right now, I think you already understand what it feels like to rest in bed drained, watching the rafters while your thoughts refuse to settle down. You know what it's like to wake up at 2 a.m. and not be capable of getting back to sleep. And if that sounds like you, I want you to know that you are not isolated. And more importantly, you are not out of choices. Because today I'm going to reveal something that a rising number of sleep experts, dietitians, and holistic health doctors have been quietly discussing for years. It's basic, it's organic, it's just 1 tablespoon consumed before you go to rest. And the outcomes for many elders have been nothing short of extraordinary. Please stay with me all the way to the conclusion of this video. What I'm about to reveal could truly alter the way you sleep tonight. Before we discuss the approach, I want you to truly grasp what's occurring inside your system when you can't sleep, because this is something most clinicians don't spend nearly enough time clarifying. And when you grasp it, everything else is going to make so much more sense. Here is the reality. As we get older, and I'm talking specifically about those of us over the age of 55, our systems begin creating significantly less of a substance called melatonin. Melatonin is your body's organic sleep cue. It's the chemical signal that tells your mind the sun has gone down and it's time to relax. A major study released in 2013 in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism verified what many sleep experts had suspected for years. Older adults create dramatically lower amounts of melatonin compared to younger folks, and that fall begins as early as your mid-40s and speeds up from there. By the time you reach your late 60s or 70s, your mind may be creating only a tiny bit of the melatonin it once did, but that's only part of the story. A 2018 study from the National Institutes of Health found that aging also upsets something called your circadian rhythm, the internal biological timer that governs when you feel alert and when you feel drowsy. In elders, this timer tends to shift earlier, which means you may feel sleepy unusually early in the evening, but then find yourself wide awake at 3 or 4 in the morning. That's not sleeplessness in the classic sense. That's your biology moving, and no amount of willpower can stop it on its own. And then there's cortisol, the stress signal. Evidence released in 2020 in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews showed that older adults tend to have raised baseline cortisol levels, particularly in the late evening. Cortisol is intended to keep you sharp. It is the biological opposite of what you need when you're trying to fall asleep. So, imagine your system trying to power down for the night while your stress signals are still moving at 60% capacity. That is the situation that millions of elders are living with every single night, and they don't even know it. Now, here is why all of this matters for what I'm about to tell you. The organic method I'm going to reveal with you works precisely because it addresses these underlying biological systems. It doesn't just hide your symptoms the way a sleeping pill does. It actually aids your body's own chemistry, soothing your nervous system, decreasing that evening cortisol peak, and giving your brain the raw ingredients it needs to create more of its own organic sleep-assisting compounds. A 2021 review released in Nutrients Journal examined over 40 separate clinical tests and found that specific organic food compounds consistently decreased sleep start time, meaning the time it takes to actually fall asleep by an average of 14 to 22 minutes in adults over the age of 55. That might not sound like much, but when you've been resting awake for an hour every night for years, 14 minutes can feel like a blessing. And the method we're talking about today has been shown to do even more than that. So let's talk about it. The method I'm recommending, and the one that has the most convincing scientific support for elders specifically, is Tarty Cherry Juice Concentrate. Just 1 tablespoon taken about 30 to 45 minutes before you go to bed. That's it. 1 tablespoon. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Cherry juice? Honestly, but please hear me out because the research behind this is truly impressive. Tart cherries, specifically the Montmorency type, are one of the very few organic food sources that contain meaningful amounts of naturally occurring melatonin. We're not talking about a synthetic pill here. This is melatonin that your system identifies that it can take in and use effectively, provided in a whole food structure alongside dozens of other helpful compounds. One of the most referenced studies on this topic was released in the European Journal of Nutrition back in 2012, and it showed that adults who consumed tart cherry juice twice daily, once in the morning and once in the evening, saw significant gains in sleep length and sleep quality compared to those who drank a placebo. And that study used standard cherry juice. The concentrate, which is far more strong, and that's what we're talking about, just 1 tablespoon of concentrate, has been shown in more recent evidence to be even more powerful. A 2019 study from Louisiana State University, done specifically with older adults experiencing sleeplessness, found that subjects who used tart cherry concentrate daily slept an average of 84 minutes longer per night than those who did not. 84 minutes. That is not a small error. That is life-changing for anyone who's been battling with sleep. The same study also found gains in sleep efficiency, meaning the subjects were spending more of their time in bed actually asleep rather than lying awake. But the power of tart cherry concentrate doesn't stop at melatonin. Tart cherries are incredibly rich in something called proanthocyanidins, which are strong anti-inflammatory compounds. Evidence from 2020 released in the British Journal of Nutrition found that these compounds help decrease inflammation in the brain and nervous system, which is critically vital for sleep because chronic low-grade inflammation, which is extremely common in older adults, is a major disruptor of normal sleep patterns. When your brain is inflamed, your sleep cycles break. You get less deep sleep, less REM sleep, and you wake up feeling drained even after a full night in bed. Tart cherry's anti-inflammatory compounds help shift that process gently and naturally. Tart cherries are also a rich source of tryptophan, the building block for serotonin. And they contain anthocyanins that have been shown to stop an enzyme that destroys tryptophan in your system, meaning more of it stays available for your brain to turn into serotonin and then into melatonin. This is your body's own organic sleep chemistry being aided and boosted from within. And all of this just from 1 tablespoon of concentrate before bed. Now, let's get practical because I know some of you are already wondering exactly how to do this, what to buy, and what you're going to feel when you try it. I want to guide you through everything step by step so you have total certainty going into this. First, the product. You're looking for 100% pure tart cherry concentrate, not tart cherry juice blend, not cherry flavored drinks with added sugar and fake ingredients. Read the label carefully. The ingredient list should say one thing, tart cherry concentrate. Sometimes you'll see it listed as Montmorency cherry concentrate. And that is exactly what you want because Montmorency is the specific type that has been used in essentially all of the scientific evidence. You can find it at most health food stores, at many large grocery stores, and of course online. A good quality concentrate will be dark, almost burgundy in color, and it will taste sharp and rich. Second, the timing and amount. Evidence consistently shows that 1 tablespoon, just 15 milliliter, is the effective amount for sleep aid. You can blend it with a small amount of water, about 4 to 6 ounces, or you can take it straight if you prefer. Take it about 30 to 45 minutes before you plan to go to sleep, not right before you get into bed. You want to give it time to settle and for those organic melatonin and anti-inflammatory compounds to start working. Third, and this is something the studies are very consistent about, you need to give it at least 7 to 10 days of regular use before you make any choices about whether it's working. A 2022 review of multiple sleep intervention studies found that organic methods almost always require a period of neurochemical adjustment. Your brain's sleep-wake chemistry didn't get upset overnight, and it's not going to be fully adjusted overnight either. But what many users state, and what some of the clinical evidence also confirms, is a visible gain in how quickly they fall asleep, starting in the first 3 to 5 days. By the end of 2 weeks, most subjects in clinical tests were reporting meaningful gains in total sleep quality, less nighttime waking, and better energy levels the next day. Fourth, consider mixing the tart cherry concentrate with a few simple sleep habits that work together with it. A 2017 study from the University of Michigan found that keeping a regular bedtime, even on weekends, was one of the single most effective behavior shifts for sleep in older adults, decreasing sleep start time by an average of 19% over 4 weeks. Join that with your nightly tablespoon of tart cherry concentrate, and you are giving your system a strong 1-2 punch, the organic chemical aid it needs, plus the behavior backup that fixes in better sleep cycles over time. Also, lowering the lights in your home about an hour before bed and cutting screen time from phones, tablets, and televisions will permit the melatonin from the cherry concentrate to work even more effectively by not fighting with the blue light blocking that screens cause. I want to take a moment and speak very directly to you about something because I think it's vital that you fully value just how much is at stake when it comes to your sleep quality, especially as a senior. We often think of sleep as just rest, just the system closing down for the night. But the science of the past 15 years has completely changed our view of what actually occurs when we sleep. And the results are both amazing and critical. A major study released in Science magazine in 2013, one of the most mentioned neuroscience papers of the decade, found that your brain has its own waste removal system called the glymphatic system, and it only turns on fully during deep sleep. While you're in deep restorative sleep, this system clears out harmful metabolic waste items from your brain, including the proteins linked with memory loss and cognitive decline. The experts found that the glymphatic system is nearly 10 times more active during sleep than during waking hours. 10 times. That means every night of poor sleep is a night your brain is not fully washing itself, and that builds over months and years into real, measurable neurological effects. A follow-up study from Johns Hopkins University in 2017 found that even 1 week of sleep loss in older adults was linked with a significant rise in amyloid plaques, the protein clusters linked to brain issues in the mind. This is not a far-off theoretical danger. This is biology occurring right now every night, depending on whether or not you're getting sufficient deep sleep. And a 2023 meta-analysis released in Nature Aging, which examined 27 separate long-term studies covering over 2 million subjects, found that adults who consistently slept fewer than 6 hours per night had a 30% higher risk of experiencing cognitive issues compared to those who slept 7 to 8 hours. But here's the positive part. Improving your sleep quality, even in your 60s, 70s, or later, has been shown to fix many of these effects. A 2020 study released in Aging and Disease found that older adults who boosted their sleep quality through organic methods showed measurable gains in mental test scores, lower inflammatory markers in the blood, and significantly better mood and quality of life within just 8 weeks. Your brain is incredibly tough when you give it the rest it needs, and your heart health, your immune task, your blood sugar balance, your metabolism, your joint comfort, all of these are directly linked to sleep quality in ways the evidence is only beginning to fully measure. That is why what I revealed with you today, this simple, organic 1 tablespoon method, is about so much more than just feeling a little less tired in the morning. It is about giving your brain and your system the nightly repair they were built to receive. It is about guarding your memory, your heart, your freedom, and your quality of life for years to come. The evidence is there. The method is reachable. The only thing left is for you to try it. And I truly believe that if you give it 2 honest weeks, you will feel a change that amazes you. So, there you have it. 1 tablespoon of tart cherry concentrate 30 to 45 minutes before bed, taken regularly every night, backed by decades of evidence, kind on your body, and built to work with your biology, not against it. This is not a magic fix. It is not a miracle solution, but it is a real scientifically aided organic strategy to one of the most vital things you can do for your wellness at this phase of your life. I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If you found this data helpful, and I sincerely hope you did, please give this video a like right now. It helps more elders just like you find this info when they need it most. And if you have a friend or a family member who is battling with sleep, please share this video with them. You could truly alter someone's life today. Don't forget to follow this channel and hit the notification alert so you never miss our newest health content. And leave me a note below. I would love to hear how the tart cherry method works for you, or if you have questions, I do my best to check and answer. Take good care of yourself. You deserve calm nights and bright mornings every single day.